This is CBS 2 News at 8.
Try to have the best last beach day of the season.
Right now at 8, saying goodbye to summer. Labor Day weekend is here with millions of people hitting the roads and the airports. Good evening, I'm Dick Brennan. Welcome to CBS News New York, now at our new time, 8 p.m. every night. It's one of the busiest travel days of the year. More than 148 million Americans are planning to leave home this holiday weekend. That's more than half the adults in the country. And let's take a live look right now at, wow, spectacular look at Coney Island. Yeah, Lonnie's loving it with that sunset in the background. Coney Island in Brooklyn. We get ready for the unofficial final weekend season of the summer. Well, let's get right over to Lonnie Quinn with the first look forecast. Lonnie, top that picture. That was pretty good.
No, that picture's great looking, right? But just let's be clear, all right? The unofficial end of summer, it's just that. It's unofficial. Dick, we still officially have about 3 weeks of summer to go. So let's talk about our current situation outside. You are looking at the financial district of Manhattan, 67 degrees right now. High temperature today, flip those digits. You were 76. The concern today was rip currents. And at one point, all of our southerly facing beaches and all the Jersey Shore under that high risk for rip currents. But look, they were due to expire at 8 p.m., and sure enough, we expired for those south-facing beaches, but we still hold on to it for portions of the Jersey Shore. The risk was, hey, could see some 3 to 4 foot waves out there. We think they'll be diminishing as you push through the weekend, a little bit better each and every day. Still out there tomorrow, but not as bad. The big picture shows you, hey, the oceans are still being churned up, but the two systems that we're watching, Franklin, Idalia, is pushing farther out to sea, so it's a better picture for us. So 81 tomorrow, 87 Sunday, 91 Monday. You take your pick. Beautiful days, just a little bit warmer, each and every one of them. Dick, it's all yours.
All right, Lonnie, thanks very much. Swimmers returned to the water at Long Island beaches today after rip current warnings closed them yesterday. It was a welcome return to kick off the holiday weekend. CBS 2's Jennifer McLogan has the latest from Jones Beach.
I can't go in the water like I used to, but I walk around and see the people, which means a lot to me.
92-year-old Eddie Zaru said he would never miss an opening day holiday weekend at Jones Beach. There's a buzz in the air and ocean.
The wave just going like in one direction, they're all different directions.
Sometimes it can like pull you back really hard.
Swimmers challenged, but having a blast following the beach ban this week during the rare blue supermoon sandwiched between Idalia and Franklin. Lifeguards on the lookout swim only between green flags.
So if they see any rip currents or anything that would be dangerous, they will redirect the swimmers into safety.
Drones will check surf conditions hourly.
I love the beach, and swimming is like so much fun.
The last licks of summer, Tabiata Amaya is a college student from Colombia delivering ice cream on the sand.
Strawberry. This is one of the best.
Beachgoers said thoughts of hurricanes are not far off, with the unusual flooding that pooled into lakes on Jones Beach now being released with trench digging.
The entire beachfront from Field 6 all the way to Field 2 was covered with water.
We're glad that, it definitely was open and the kids can take advantage of it before school starts back next week.
Time to relax and ponder the meaning of the upcoming holiday.
I feel a lot of pride because Labor Day has strong roots in my family. We're Irish heritage.
Appreciate, that you have a job, that, you work hard.
It was a nice, relaxing summer. It's time to get back to regular routine.
Despite returning to a regular routine, we can still enjoy these state beaches for at least 3 more weeks. Lifeguards will remain on duty till almost the first official day of fall. Reporting from Jones Beach State Park, Jennifer McLogan, CBS 2 News.
And millions of people are traveling this Labor Day weekend, squeezing in one last summer before the kids head back to school. TSA says as many as 14 million people will fly this holiday. According to AAA, international travel is seeing the biggest increase, up 44% from last year. Local travel is also up slightly over last year.
We're seeing domestic bookings, hotels, rental cars, parks, and all sorts of tickets. That's up 4%. And cruising is up domestically 19%. In a time of inflation that people like the sort of pay up front price for cruising, you know exactly what it's going to cost you.
Millions of people also hitting the roads with gas prices slightly lower than last year. The average price per gallon in New York is $3.90, in Connecticut $3.89. The cheapest, of course, in New Jersey at $3.66 per gallon. And stay with CBS 2 throughout the holiday weekend. We will bring you the latest updates on air and online at cbsnewyork.com. Federal investigators are looking for clues on why a helicopter crashed into a New Jersey creek yesterday. And tonight we're learning more about the pilot. CBS 2's Alicia Reed has the latest from South Brunswick.
A salvage team that specializes in aviation extractions is en route from Delaware, but will have to be diligent with recovery.
The water is not exactly the safest to be traversing. There's some algae blooms and bacteria in the water, so we're doing our best to recover the wreckage first before we dig into it.
NTSB officials say it happened quickly. The chopper left Princeton Airport just before 3:15 yesterday afternoon, about 3 miles from the crash site, and appears to have gone out of control rather quickly.
It just was spinning. Yeah, it was spinning like a tailspin, and yeah. The wind was pretty bad yesterday.
The NTSB will be investigating the environment, weather, air traffic control, and how they all interacted with each other at the time of the crash. They'll also be looking at videos and pictures from witnesses, including Beverly Tereshko's, who's still quite shaken up from what she saw.
It was scary. It was close to us. I don't want to talk too much about it for the family's sake. I know they're hurting. I send my prayers and love to each and every one of them, his mother, his sisters.
We're learning the pilot, Israeli citizen Joseph Yitzhak, was a seasoned pilot overseas, but it's not clear how much experience he had flying helicopters.
About 30 seconds before the helicopter experienced a catastrophic failure, it was going out of control. We have witness statements saying it was flying erratically. We have photographic evidence saying that it was taking some pretty steep turns and spinning. As that was happening, the main rotor blades struck the tail boom. The helicopter was at an unusual attitude at the time, and the rotor blades struck the tail boom, severing the tail into 3 separate pieces, and then the rotor blades also struck the canopy ahead of them. So the helicopter is a very complex piece of equipment, a lot of moving parts.
NTSB officials say a full investigation could take up to a year to complete, but a preliminary report may be released in as soon as 5 to 10 days from now. In South Brunswick, Alicia Reed, CBS 2 News.
An off-duty NYPD officer who was injured during a traffic dispute in Queens is now out of the hospital. Fellow officers lined up to greet Officer Christopher Campos. Campos was released from Elmhurst Hospital, where he's been recovering since the attack Wednesday afternoon in Woodside. The Queens DA says one of the suspects tried to take the officer's gun. During the scuffle, the officer fired 1 round, hitting himself in the leg and a suspect in the hand. Both suspects, who are brothers, face several charges. Controversy over the NYPD's plan to deploy drones this holiday weekend. Police say drones will be used to respond to calls and complaints about large outdoor gatherings. But a lawyer with the Legal Aid Society says using drones to monitor people is the same as an unlawful search.
A search does not necessarily have to be something where officers are sent in swarming, but recording people and monitoring them from the sky while they're in the privacy of their backyard is an unlawful search.
A drone could get to a location in 30, 40 seconds, where we're going to have crowded streets where police are not going to be able to get there as fast.
Monday's West Indian American Day Parade will be the first time the NYPD is rolling out the drones for such a large-scale event. And preparations are in place for the parade. The celebration expected to bring millions of dollars to the city. Business is already booming along Eastern Parkway in Brooklyn. Vendors say they make thousands of dollars every year, even after paying for permits in a prime spot. The flags, clothes, accessories, and food are the only money makers for the high-energy event.
West Indian Day Parade actually nets $300 million of revenue for the city. Think about how many folks travel here, stay in hotels here, purchase food here, purchase costumes. It's really a big driver for us.
For more on the parade prep stories, head to our website, cbsnewyork.com. There are likely disappointed music fans after tonight's Electric Zoo Festival was canceled. Chopper 2 was over Randall's Island this afternoon as crews appeared to be setting up the stage. Organizers say a global supply chain disruption forced them to cancel the show, and tickets will be refunded. However, Saturday and Sunday performances will go on as planned. Tens of thousands of people attend Electric Zoo every year. Well, still ahead, before school starts, city kids could be left without buses.
She's not ready. She's not ready. She's not used to so many people in the morning.
Why a looming strike is causing extra anxiety for parents of special needs children. Plus, a warning from doctors about a new group of drugs causing overdoses. They say it may be more powerful than fentanyl. And you won't have to pay back your federal student loans until next month, but there is a change that started today. We'll tell you what to look for. New York City public school students can expect some changes when school starts next Thursday. The Department of Education says teachers will prioritize reading and math. Safety is also a priority. Chancellor David Banks says there'll be weekly Zoom calls between principals and NYPD precinct officers, and a door locking system is already installed in 744 elementary schools.
Anyone who shows up at the school will press the buzzer. They will be seen on camera by the school safety agent at the front door. They will be able to communicate with them. They will present their ID and the reason for them being there before we gain entry.
Mayor Adams said there also will be thousands of incoming students from families of asylum seekers, but he says the city is hiring extra staffers with necessary language skills. Back to school comes with an added wrinkle this year, a potential bus driver strike in the city. CBS 2's Doug Williams spoke with parents of special needs children who are preparing for the worst.
The New York City Department of Education says 80,000 students get to and from school every day on a school bus, 25,000 of which are students with special needs. If bus companies and transit union representatives don't come to an agreement before the first day of school next week, those students and families will have to scramble to find alternative transportation.
How? The question is how?
Giselle Ramirez is a single mom of 2 children, 5 and 6 years old. Both have autism and both are nonverbal and cannot take public transportation. They also go to different schools on opposite ends of the Bronx.
Remember, this is just one thing. We do a lot. It's always a form to fill out. It's always a doctor's appointment. You have to take them.
The Department of Education says if the strike happens, it will provide Metro cards as well as prepaid ride shares and reimbursement plans. But Ramirez says receipts for rideshare reimbursement she's submitted to the Office of Peer Transport in the past have gone unpaid. We reached out to the OPT for comment and have not heard back. Ramirez's job in tech sales is in Lower Manhattan.
I have no idea what I'm going to do to get to work.
Doris Atta is a healthcare worker. Her daughter is 18 years old with autism. For them, no bus means mass transit. She plans to take her daughter to ride the subway on Sunday to make sure she's familiar with it just days before it may become their reality.
She's not ready. She's not ready. She's not used to so many people in the morning.
It's about a half-hour subway ride for Doris and her daughter to get here. That is common for parents of special needs students. They're choosing schools based on availability and not necessarily convenience.
I'm angry. I'm not going to blame the school. The school is excellent. I'm not going to blame the driver. With this MetroCard business, I don't approve of it. I don't. It's not going to help my child. It's not going to help nobody.
Both Ramirez and Atta are adamant. Their issue is not with bus drivers wanting better wages and working conditions. At a back-to-school press conference Friday afternoon, Education Chancellor David Banks said he is hopeful a strike can be avoided.
Anytime you have a strike, it will be a challenge, and it will be a major, major inconvenience for all of our kids and their families.
Doug Williams, CBS 2 News.
In tonight's Health Watch, a warning about a new dangerous kind of opioid that could be even more potent than fentanyl. A new study published this week found nitazines are becoming more common in the U.S. Researchers say they have a different chemical structure compared to other opioids.
They're just much more potent, meaning that someone may not know that these chemicals exist and they use the same amount of a drug that they've always used, and they have an unintended worse effect.
Doctors also say this type of drug wasn't present in the U.S. drug supply until the last couple of years. They hope the addition of having Narcan available over the counter next week can save lives. Feeling the squeeze on student loans, starting today, interest is being charged again on federal student loan payments, and next month borrowers will have to resume making payments for the first time in more than 3 years. The pandemic-related pause, which went into effect in March of 2020, provided relief to nearly 44 million borrowers, but after several extensions, the pause will finally expire this fall. And now to our weather. Let's get right to Lonnie Quinn, because Lonnie, we want to get to you quickly because this is the best news we've had in a while, right?
Yeah, no, this is great. I mean, the holiday weekend looked fun. Dick, how do you like, being out here at 8 o'clock?
The news, we like the new news at 8.
It feels fresh, right?
It does. It's earlier. Yeah, I'm more awake. This is good stuff, right?
That's it. Yes, because we're all in bed by 9 o'clock.
That's right.
All right, here's what I've got for you guys outside. The picture is great. It was a great looking day. Great right now, 67. High temperature, well, flip-flop those numbers. You hit 76. 81's the high, the average high. So you're 5 degrees cooler than average, but it was a fantastic day. Such low humidity, not a drop of rain out there. In fact, I don't see a rain chance until maybe like 5, 6 days from now. I mean, sit tight on that. I'm looking at one of our best holiday weekends that I've had the pleasure to forecast for you over the 16-plus years I've been with you. Rising temperatures each and every day. In fact, you could pop a heat wave. By the time you get to Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, somewhere in there, you could possibly have a 3-day run of 90-degree days. It would be a low grade, but it's a possibility. Heck, you didn't have a single 90-degree day in August, and the seas will be calmer by the time you get to Labor Day. So when I look at the beach forecast and the mountain forecast, whether you're going up to the mountains or out to the beaches, everybody has a good-looking weekend. This area is shaded in yellow. All right, the yellow bar for Saturday and Sunday in the Hamptons and the yellow bar for the Jersey Shore simply means the high risk for rip currents is more moderate. It's definitely still out there, but it's more moderate, and then you should get down to the low level by the time you get to Monday. But everybody, whether you're going up or out to the oceans, doing just fine. It's a great-looking weekend. Speaking of the oceans, all right, in the Atlantic Basin, all kinds of names. We have what's left of Idalia, what's left of Franklin, and then right next to it is Tropical Storm Jose. And look at this. You remember Gert? Gert never did much of anything, sort of faded away, but never really to nothingness. It's popped back up. It's a tropical storm as well. We have Tropical Depression, number 12, around the Cape Verde Island, which is right there. None of this now forecast to come to our areas, but as long as they're in the oceans, they do churn things up. So we're going to continue to monitor all of that for you. Here is how we see everything coming together. 81 for your day tomorrow. Continued sunshine, low humidity. I talk about it being just one of the best holiday weekends I've had the pleasure of forecasting. We'll go 81 tomorrow. We'll bump you up a little bit on Sunday to 87. Bump you up even more so on Monday to 91. We'll be 90 on Tuesday as people go back to school or to work. And Wednesday, you're 88. But if you cobble together 3 90-degree days there, like I said, you could possibly have a heat wave. And we didn't have a single, not only did we not have a single heat wave in August, we didn't have a single 90-degree day.
The dog days of
August.
September are coming.
The dog days of September. Did you write that one?
That was, wasn't it original on the News at 8?
Just off the top of the man's a master.
All things come early. All right, thanks, Lonnie. And here's Otis with what's coming up in sports. Oh.
Yeah, the youth movement is already in full effect in the Bronx and Queens. Both the Yankees and Mets are trying to take a look into their future. And Ronald Acuna Jr. is a young player for the Braves. He's already put up historic numbers and is in the running for MVP this season. Yesterday, he had a day to remember on and off the field.
This is CBS Sports New York, presented by Ford.
Well, the season is over, except for the crying and the cleaning out the lockers for the Mets. Still 28 games left to infuse a little excitement heading into next year. Mets hope to finally get some of that because they finally called up Ronnie Mauricio. The 22-year-old infielder has been on the fans' radar for some time, especially with the team calling up other prospects this season. And speaking of that, Brett Beatty is being called back up after hitting well after being demoted to AAA Syracuse, hitting 5 home runs with an .822 OPS in 17 games. Both are in the lineup tonight. Mauricio playing second base, batting 9th. Beatty is at third base, batting 8th. It's like a reunion for these guys who grew up in the minors together.
I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome to see because, I mean, we played together for about 4 years now, so we all understand each other's games, and we feed off each other too. We get a lot of confidence from each other, and that's pretty cool. I'm excited to play with all the guys again.
Yankees also starting a youth movement, calling up 23-year-old Oswaldo Peraza, 22-year-old Everson Pereira, 24-year-old Austin Wells, and the Martian, 20-year-old Jason Dominguez in the past 10 days. All 4 and 22-year-old Anthony Volpe are in the lineup tonight as the Yankees begin a series in Houston. Now to the U.S. Open. Women's top seed Iga Swiatek continues to have an easy time at the U.S. Open. 6-love, 6-1 winner in the 3rd round. She still hasn't given up more than 4 games in a set so far. Coco Gauff and Novak Djokovic are the featured night matches at Ashe Stadium. Earlier today at Louis Armstrong Stadium, 10-seed Frances Tiafoe dropped the first set to France's Adrian Manarino and then stormed back to leave no doubt, winning the next 3 sets 6-2, 6-3, and 7-6. Tiafoe, who reached the semis last year, advances to the round of 16 for the 4th straight year. And finally tonight, you've heard the saying, it's good to be the king. Well, it's pretty good to be Ronald Acuna Jr., the Braves MVP candidate. He had an all-time great day yesterday. It started with Acuna marrying his longtime girlfriend in a quickly planned morning ceremony in Los Angeles. The couple has 2 sons together. And the day ended in record-setting fashion. Acuna hitting a grand slam against the Dodgers, and he became the first player in Major League history to reach the 30-60 mark. I'm talking about 30 home runs, 60 stolen base. By the way, He's only 25 years old, so there's a lot more records and a lot more kids coming up for him, I'm sure.
Man, kids is right. A 20-year-old, the Yankees call him a 20-year-old.
Yes, Jason Dominguez. They call him the Martian because he's just a freak, I guess.
I was going to say.
He's out of this world, alien, I guess.
How'd you like to have a nickname like the Martian? Now, that's an interesting...
endearing.
Listen, for baseball, though, it gives you something. I mean, you think in your mind like this guy has to be an alien, he has a freak nature or something.
Something out of this world, right?
That's what it is.
I mean, that's pretty young.
Well, finally, tonight, one of the biggest signs that the U.S. government is now taking the existence of other life seriously.
Speaking of aliens.
How do we know this? The Pentagon launched a website today to give the public easier access to information about UFOs. The Defense Department billed the site as a one-stop shop for publicly available UFO records. Lonnie, and
I believe.
There's one of them right there.
The Great Kazoo. Remember him?
Kazoo. You can find photos, videos, some labeled unresolved, unclassified, with short explanations.
Somebody is out there.
They're out there. And thank you for joining us at our new time.
Because you're out there.
Every evening. And join the News at 11 on CBS 2. Good night.